Tom Nook is one of the most familiar Animal Crossing characters that we all love. He always has a major impact on the player, especially early on when you move into your new town, making sure you're accommodated, giving you a job, and selling items that could benefit you such as tools or furniture. Nowadays, Isabelle has taken over a lot of the responsibilities to help the player and is probably the most familiar character in the franchise since her debut in New Leaf. But we can't forget everything Tom Nook has done in the series. Starting as a simple shop owner and the one who takes care of expanding your home, throughout every entry, his position and roles level up, focusing more on housing services and now creating island getaway services. This man has always believed in his mission. Helping residents, giving them the right goods, and making sure that he doesn't charge interest on mortgages to the player. Now, we all like to make funny jokes about him being a debt collector and signing you into contracts you're kind of forced into. Plus, he is a tanuki, and they are known for being mischievous little guys. But in reality, there's more to this guy than we might overlook. He's different from other tanukis. A man of humble beginnings, he grew his business from the very bottom and now he holds a lot of power and wealth. He keeps his head down and focuses on work. So for this video, let's do an analysis on his success and what were his methods into achieving his dreams. I'm going to do this by taking all of the mainline games and packaging them together as a whole, like a timeline of sorts, saying how these titles alter his positioning in his career and how he transfers his responsibilities as he levels up. This is just a fun video analyzing a fan favorite character and giving him some love. I think we should recognize his success and be proud for what he has done for the players throughout the series. So let's begin with Tom Nook, starting from the first couple of games, and this is where I want to bundle the first game, Wild World, and City Folk together because his story and gameplay doesn't change that much between those games. When we are first introduced to this character, we can see that he owns a little shack that holds a small amount of items available for purchase, and Tom Nook himself is just a simple shop owner wearing his work apron. Yet, he is a man that gives you your first home and immediately puts you into debt, in which you are forced into labor. Pretty harsh to be honest, but he means well, making sure you have a proper place to stay in. He was your go-to guy for every good you need to do everything you want in your town. In those early titles of the series, you see him slowly upgrade his store over time from Nook's Cranny to Nook and Go, after that Nookway, and finally Nookingtons. Looking at these stores themselves, they serve the same purpose with more variety of goods increasing between each installment. The requirements for these upgrades needs the player to spend or sell a certain amount of bells and time to allow Tom Nook to invest what you spent for those upgrades. This brings me to the first point of how Tom Nook found his success: reinvestment. As a customer, the player relies on Tom Nook to sell you the important items you need for your town. From tools, to wallpapers and carpets, to furniture and plants, he's got everything you need. And he knows that. Tom Nook understands that he's the only guy in town that offers those products at retail. No one else wanted to set up shop in your town but him. Sure, the Able sisters are there too, but they specialize in only clothing and apparel, not the goods that Tom Nook offers. And the rest of the town knows that he's essentially the lifeline for commerce to flow through that town, as well as allowing everyone there to keep a decent living with essential items like medicine. Furthermore, he's your go-to guy when it comes to your housing situation, assigning your mortgage and making installments whenever you're finished paying a loan. So, not only that he takes care of selling everyday items, but even handling real estate matters that will play more of an important role in New Leaf. As you can see, Tom Nook is well versed when it comes to business, so reinvestment in his business allows him to further expand his operations and services to the town, making it more of a reason to live there for the residents. In Wild World, once you get Nookingtons, there's even a hair salon, Shampoodle, run by Harriet, that's been added within the store. Although, sadly, Harriet relocated her salon to the city in City Folk, so residents would have to travel all the way there for her services, but he has his nephews, Timmy and Tommy, to lend a hand too. Speaking of Timmy and Tommy, they were both hired by Tom Nook when he realized he needed more help with his store. Assuming his hands are tied up with operating the first floor of the shop, managing his inventory, as well as taking care of your house, it's no wonder he asked for more help. In the original title as well as Wild World, the requirements to get Nookingtons also required a player from another town to interact with your town store for Tom Nook to do his final upgrade. Although this was a way for Nintendo to encourage players to use the multiplayer features of the game, however this requirement was removed in the Wii U Virtual Console release of Wild World, it also makes sense for Tom Nook and his business. When another player shops at your town, Tom Nook realizes that there is now new potential to expand his operations to other places outside your location, and thanks to reinvesting from his profits, Nookingtons becomes a full-on department store that, I'm assuming in lore, he offers his products to other towns via shipping. You see, when he started out as Nook's Cranny, entering his shop felt like entering a local mom and pop store. Nook & Go was a convenience store, still serving the local area and only able to offer products for his town. Nookway is a supermarket, bigger, better, and more options, but still limited in reach. But Nookington's is a full-on department store, and by looking at Tom Nook's suit, he looks like a businessman who works with other towns and making some deals with them and offering his items to them. So, seeing his final store, he wants to expand beyond his local area, and this definitely becomes more important later on, especially in New Horizons. Little by little, he is expanding his reach, and that's how he was able to jump into his next business venture, real estate. But let's slow down a bit before we touch upon the real estate. We get it. Through the power of reinvestment and commitment, it's no wonder he moves on to bigger ventures. However, we can't talk about those future endeavors without acknowledging his past. From what we know in lore, Tom Nook wanted to be successful by moving to the city, which makes sense as cities are places with a lot of opportunities. A seemingly perfect place to go for his big dreams. So he left everything behind, even his friends such as Sable, the older Able sister. However, his time in the city would end up in failure and he would soon move to the town in which you live in, which so happens to also be his hometown. He wouldn't talk much to old friends like Sable. Maybe it could be because he was embarrassed by his failure and felt some shame moving back to your town. Or maybe it was something else. But here's what I think went down. I think there was a bit of embarrassment after his failure in the city, and all he had was his little shop in a little town, called Nook's Cranny, offering the little he had. The limited availability of products were just enough for the town to get by, and surely his knowledge of real estate and housing played a role too. It looked like that was his fate, to stay hidden away, unknown to the rest of the world. In reality, he was a man with a plan. Learning from his previous failures and mistakes, I think he hid away on purpose. Clearly, he still dreamed of his business, but he needed to start over, to start fresh. This is the next point I want to mention that led to its success. His past taught him lessons he had to learn. He acknowledged his past mistakes, so he started small and used what he is good at doing by moving to a small town to work with a smaller pool of clients and customers, planning for the long term and being patient to make wise business decisions, working with limited funds and resources and essentially not rushing his success. And thanks to the help of you, the player, he found those right moments to expand. In the past, it is believed that he had worked with Crazy Red, the shady art dealing fox, and this could be a reason to his early failure. It could be that working with Red, he focused only on the profits and making a quick buck without realizing how to actually treat his customers and not understanding how to put value in his products he sold or the services he offered. He would soon split from Red, realizing that his business partner had led him to ruin and is why he ended up with virtually nothing by the time he moved to your town. Carrying those mistakes, he understood the meaning of quality service and patience will help him grow. Starting small also helped him see what worked and what didn't. And by the time the player moved to that town, he already became well versed on how he wants to treat his customers and clients. He kept his head down and focused on strategies to offer what he has in the best way possible to make his profits, but to also satisfy his customers. Learning from mistakes and failures were an essential part of his success, because without the understanding, he would be doomed to fail again. But thankfully, that didn't happen to our favorite Tanuki, and thus his business thrived, and there would be more in store for his future. So that leads us to New Leaf. At this point, he left his store to Timmy and Tommy so that he can open his new venture, Nook's Homes. Focusing more on real estate side of operations, he gives the residents of the town customization for their homes and once again, helping the player with upgrading their homes. Before New Leaf, I felt that his knowledge on real estate and housing customization was like a side hustle that coincided with his main store operations. It was an interest he had for a while, but couldn't do much on real estate until New Leaf, in which he was able to go all in when he felt comfortable leaving his old store to his nephews. As I just stated, he offers services related to homes, but we can't forget the Happy Home Academy that's also integrated inside his store. In previous titles before New Leaf, we had the Happy Room Academy, which its purpose is pretty much the same as the Happy Home Academy. But why is this important to Tom Nook's success? This is the next point. Being able to partner with other parties and utilizing his old and new businesses together. Tom Nook decided to work alongside the Happy Home Academy by partnering together and essentially making a deal that works for both parties. Tom Nook allowed the Happy Home Academy to operate in his store. In fact, it's their headquarters. This allows the organization a place where they can rate residents' homes in a place that focuses on real estate and housing customization. It's a win-win scenario. Working with others outside his own business can potentially bring more clientele from residents who want high scores for their homes. The HHA rates homes based on multiple factors such as feng shui or furniture sets. They offer rewards for residents who meet a certain amount of points, and once you have your home fully paid off, there are even theme challenges you can do. This gives incentives for residents to keep upgrading and designing their home, which of course works well for our Tanuki friend. Because Tom Nook not only offers his housing customization services, but he still has his old business, the store that sells wallpapers, flooring, furniture, and other items. The store that we're all familiar with that is now run by his nephews. Despite the keys being given to them, Tom Nook still has a connection to his old grounds. If residents want good HHA ratings and complete theme challenges, what will they do? They're going to go to the Nooklings for those products for interior items and Nook's Homes for exterior services. This helps all parties. HHA gets to rate homes and reward residents, Timmy and Tommy get customers, and Tom Nook is able to utilize his own services in his store. Tom Nook understood the value of partnering with the right folks. Unlike his previous partner, Crazy Red, whose practices didn't align with Tom Nook, he partnered with other animals who are in line with his vision while still making them satisfied. When done right, partnership can lead to success, and as we've seen here, all parties benefited. Residents who are aware of the HHA will use both Nook's Homes and Nookling Junction. There is a reason to use all services, so everyone wins. But real estate wasn't enough for Tom Nook. He wanted to take a leap of faith and to venture to uncharted lands. Literally. So, we finally reach his most recent endeavor, making Nook Inc. and becoming a travel agent. With his knowledge in business and real estate, it makes sense that this would lead him from designing homes to designing entire islands with his special deserted island getaway package. Giving players an island that they can create while also providing resident services to assist them in their new home, Tom Nook is in charge and making sure everything goes smoothly for residents by giving them access to services that can shape the island to the player's liking. And this leads to the final points of Tom Nook's success. By being humble in his achievements while still having no limits, and continue learning and serving. Utilizing what he knows from what works from his past endeavors, but now with more power, being able to offer even more for his clients. Instead of stopping, he keeps going. Tom Nook is at the point in his career where he can essentially do anything he puts his mind to. Even in success, there is always room to grow, learn, and try new things. He doesn't brag about his success. He wants to serve his community the best he can, giving them what they need: items, tools, a home. He doesn't even charge any interest or late fees for your mortgage. He has the power to do whatever he wants, but he wants his community he lives alongside with to be happy. Tom Nook doesn't want his fellow residents around him to be miserable. He's seen struggle in his own personal life, and success came from all the lessons he's learned along the way. We're talking about 20 or 25 so years of experience, and he's still growing strong, continuing to learn to better himself, yet using his knowledge to teach others such as Timmy and Tommy, all the while not bragging about that success, just doing what he likes doing, finding ways he can serve the people he cares about, or animals. Anyways, he has an abundant mindset, one that I myself admire. Reinvestment, learning from the past failures, partnerships with the right crowd, using the knowledge he knows from what works, humbleness, continued growth, and how to serve. These are the ingredients to his overall success. Clearly, he's more than your debt collector. He's got your back and doesn't ask for much in return but your satisfaction. So let's all love and appreciate the guy who gave us a place to stay and items we need in our Animal Crossing adventures. And that's the end of the video. I wanted to analyze and study one of my favorite Animal Crossing characters for a while now, and I'm happy that I got to do this. I think there's a lot to respect about Tom Nook, and I hope you learned something about him too. But was there anything I missed or something that you would like to add? Let me know in the comments, and remember to like and subscribe. I'm thinking about doing more Animal Crossing analysis videos in the future too, so definitely let me know if you want to see more analysis content. That's all I got for now, so remember to stay calm and stay chill everyone. See you.